This is the 7 News Special Report.
Lynn Martinez in the 7 Newsplex. You're looking at a live picture of a developing story, a police chase, a police officer there chasing this ATV in the area of Southwest Miami-Dade, 280th Street, way out there, and 182nd Avenue. There were a group of these guys, and they caught some of them. But the reason why they're after this guy, we understand, is because he's supposed to be armed and mainly dangerous. And he's not stopping at all. We rarely see this kind of chase on a dirt road. You can see the canal on the other side. The police officer hot in his tail. We've got 7's Ralph Rayburn. Ralph, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Lynn. I can fill you in on here. We're out near Homestead General Aviation. This chase starting about 15, maybe 20 minutes ago. We were up near Okeechobee Road, flew down here, and in that time period, from the time it took us to get down here, the police had taken 2 other subjects in custody and a third. There were 4 ATVs. We were able to locate 2 before we picked up this chase. We have a Homestead police officer in his SUV following on a dirt road. There are other police officers in this area. This driver was in the middle of the field, and
All right, just bear with us. We'll get back to Ralph as soon as we can. We wanted to let you know, in case you're now just joining us, what the situation is. Again, this is an ATV chase. All right, okay, since the signal went out, it's live television, but you were saying, Ralph, that this started off with a group of men, and now they're after this guy because he allegedly has a weapon. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. Sorry about that. We're coming into some bad weather up here, so we'll hang with you as long as we can. As we were saying, that the other 3 complied with the police after brief chases by multiple agencies in this area. You can see them now going off-road, still being followed by the SUV. The SUVs may or may not have 4-wheel drive, unknown if they're going to be able to keep up. They sent an aviation unit down here. There he is right there as he comes into shot right on cue. He is now going to pick this up, but again, he's going to be dealing with the weather factor as we have a storm cell moving through this area. As I was saying before we lost the picture here, as you can see the heavy rain now starting to fog our camera up a little bit. This driver was being defiant, visibly defiant to the police, in that he was driving with one hand and he had the other arm raised in what we will call the one-finger salute, and driving that way with the police officers in tow there. You can see now we've got the one officer there. The other ones have elected not to go any farther. This is what the police departments do when they have a situation where they do have the police helicopter overhead. It's going to go right underneath this Joe and continue to, looks like he's going to be going eastbound if you want to do that. So we're going to continue to follow this now as we deal with the inclement weather. We do have a couple of other police helicopters. There's one police helicopter down below us as we continue to watch this Homestead police officer. We have an aviation unit, as we said a little earlier. I'm going to look out my GPS right now, but because these are unmarked roads here, what I can tell you is that we're south of 300th Street now, in the area of Homestead General Aviation. We're actually about a quarter of a mile south of that now, right on the edge of the Everglades. Again, there are just farms and a couple of residences out here. That's all that's really in this area, except for right now we have a guy on an ATV who refuses to stop for police, believed to be armed. There you can see a second officer now pulling up behind a police officer's helicopter right here, going through the shot. So this is an active police chase here in what's got to be either Homestead or Southwest Miami-Dade, and they are shadowing this guy on the ATV now. One of 2 things is going to happen. He's either going to comply and give up, or he's going to run until he runs out of fuel, or goes into bad weather and the police helicopter can't keep up with him any longer. But now we're going through an area where you can see it's a farm area right there. There's some trucks and hauling equipment. That's pretty much what we have at this point, Lynn.
Wow, I mean, they couldn't, I mean, they must be, what, 10 feet away. You know, whenever we see these chases, we always say we don't know what these people are thinking, how far they can get. You got 3 cop cars behind him. You have a police helicopter and us right above him. I mean, is it raining out there right now, Ralph? I mean,
it's pouring. It is absolutely
pouring.
Our visibility's, yeah, our visibility is dropping down. Our pilot Joe Mancino is assessing the situation here. And again, now we have police officers opening a gate here to a farm. You can see as it scoots right by there. And we've got a number of officers now responding. One of the things that we were going to mention earlier also is that there's a protocol that the police follow in these kind of chases, and in certain situations when public safety becomes the primary issue, the commander will what's called 07, or cancel the chase, and that actually happened while we were on our way down here. But some Homestead units continued to follow. All right, we're running into really bad weather here. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a little higher away from the other helicopters so that officer can do his job, and we'll see if we can settle back in here and locate that. Joe, if you want to go a little to the northwest here, maybe we can get around this.
All right, let me just interrupt you, Ralph. If you have viewers are just now joining us, you're looking at a live picture of a lot of rain, and underneath that rain, below there on the ground, is a police chase. And this is video we just turned from a few seconds ago of the police chasing. Again, this is videotape. Police chasing this ATV with a man on that vehicle believed to have a weapon who refuses to stop, and that's really why they're after him. Again, this is in Homestead, south of 300, so they are way out there. He has the advantage. We just saw from Ralph's picture, well, we can follow this picture too that we recorded a few seconds ago, that the driver actually rode, it's an ATV, could go anywhere, over the grass and made a big U-turn onto yet another dirt road. But they were after this guy again because he allegedly has a handgun. A couple of people are in custody. It started at 280th and 182nd Avenue, but they're after this guy who refuses to stop. Ralph just told us before we lost him that there is really bad weather out there, so that's enough of our helicopter and probably, I would assume, the police helicopter as well. But this guy refuses to stop. Nobody's been injured. A couple of people could be arrested. We cannot confirm that for sure, but we are hearing that maybe there are some arrests. But this is a chase, an unusual chase there in southwest Miami-Dade. No injuries reported, and we'll keep you posted on what police find. 7 News at 4 will have more on this story coming up in just a few minutes, but we're going to stay with this and keep you updated on what's going on. All right, so if you're just now joining us, again, this started off with a couple of reports of men on Hispanic male was actually the description on a bunch of ATVs. And this is back to the live picture. It's pouring rain, but we can make out the ATV drivers still flooring it there, Ralph, in the center of our screen on that dirt road. Tell us what you know.
Yeah, our request would be, we wish we had a windshield wiper on the lens of the camera, but we're just getting hammered here. You can see that black dot there in the center of the screen there above the canal. That's westbound and on the very edge of the L7 canal here in western Dade County. That's the ATV driver who's being pursued by police. We've got let me see if the helicopter's still there or whether he backed off a little bit, but the police helicopter is now in front of him, and it's he may be the one that's going to do the interception here, because there's a possibility that he could set down on the roadway there and block the only passage that this ATV driver would have. We're calling it an ATV because it appears to have 4 wheels. This all starting about 20 to 25 minutes ago in the area of 282nd Street and 187th Avenue. There was a police officer who spotted these 4 guys driving. I believe they were driving initially the wrong way on the roadway, possibly making it difficult for the officer to get by. He either had to swerve or what they use it as a call of a system of a battery and or assault on a police officer. The officer started to follow the vehicles, the four men on them. We do have video. I don't know if we've been able to turn that video around, but we do have video of 2 of the subjects and their vehicles being taken into custody. That happened. One of them happened at about 280th Street and and the railroad tracks out there west of Chrome, about 192nd Avenue, and the other one was several blocks away in that area. In the meantime, we're getting a little closer here, and we're coming into just a slightly more friendly weather here, which hopefully the camera will clear in a second or two, and you'll be able to see a little bit clearer. But the police helicopters out here, they're following and monitoring this ATV driver, believed to be armed with a gun. That's why they're concerned about that. He's refusing to stop. He has been defiant. You can see that he led police on the dirt roads there. We had Homestead police officers following for a while now. It appears that what they've done is they're just going to let the police helicopter stay up and keep track of where this guy ends up. And in the meantime, they'll send other units in this area here. There he goes. There's a shot of that Miami-Dade police helicopter there right over the ATV as he continues to go southbound along this drainage canal here on it's the western part of Dade County and into Homestead. It borders on Everglades National Park where we are now. That's how far south we are. So, and we do, as we mentioned earlier, we do have a weather system right here where we are, and it is causing a lot of rain to land on the lens of the camera there. That's why it appears to be a little bit blurry. And we're just going to continue to follow it and see how this works out.
Now, Ralph, you know, they were following him. There were up to 3 police cars at one point, just 6 minutes ago. Why would they decide to back off? There's absolutely nobody else out there.
Well, I think part of it has to do with access, and part of it has to do with officer safety and the need to keep the officers safe and to keep their equipment, keep those trucks and SUVs. They may not be able to go off-road the way an ATV could, and they may not have access here. There's a lot of the area around these canals is gated, and only if you work with Fish and Wildlife or one of those agencies do you have access to keys that would allow you to undo those padlocks and get in here. So that's probably what happened here. They probably just ran out of real estate that they had access to. The ATV goes down off the roadway around the fence and then back on. So that appears to be what's happening. But now there's a bend in the canal here. It curves a little bit to the east and then curves back and goes southbound here. The police helicopter still here. I'm looking at my map, and honest to goodness, my GPS is just showing me a blank information because there are no roads out here other than these dirt roads and farms. I'm going to bring the camera way back out just for a second so you can see exactly. Well,
wow.
I mean, yeah, you can see there's just nothing out here but a police helicopter and the guy on the ATV that refuses to stop right now.
Well, it looks like he's been making a big fat circle. So I guess a couple of things could happen. One being he could run out of gas. You know, maybe the helicopter has more gas than this guy does.
Yeah, he does. I would imagine that the fuel economy on one of these is probably a little better than our helicopter or a police helicopter here. So we'll have to see how that plays out. He's coming up to one of the culverts here, and he's going to be making, let's see, he'll be making going west here. He's making a U-turn. Realizes, yeah, he ran out of real estate, so he's going to be going back the other way, back towards where the police are probably waiting for him, I would imagine. I'm looking back up the roadway here, the dirt roadway, and I don't see any police for at least a half a mile or so to the going back northbound here on the west side of this canal bank. We've got my pilot Joe Mancini also looking up ahead says he doesn't see any police now, but we do have the police helicopter. He's still lurking here. We'll bring the camera back out. He should be at the top of the screen there. You can see the two of them. So we're moving away from the weather now. We're in between these little storm cells here. The police helicopter continues to follow this ATV. One of the 4 drivers that police were trying to get stopped to stop their vehicles, they were able to catch or stop the other 3, but now they have this last guy, the one who is believed to be armed, is described as a male wearing a long sleeve black shirt and black pants and armed with a weapon. That's how it originally came out, and he does fit that description, and obviously he's not stopping for anybody, so he may probably be the man.
So his choices, let's look at his choices right now. To the right is the canal. That's not a good choice. Back where on this dirt road, you would assume, like you said, Ralph, there are police cars waiting for him because that's where he started. And to the left, is that marshy area or is that farmland?
To his left. To the left. To his left, it's the Everglades. It's pretty much right there on the edge of the Everglades. Yeah. If he goes anywhere out there, he better be prepared because there's going to be alligators and mosquitoes more than anything else. Okay,
so he's got really no choice. And now he's going down this little it looks like an access road in the Everglades. The helicopter is directly on top of him. You got to think, even though those ATVs are loud, he knows he's being chased. The helicopter's turning around now.
Yeah, and so is the guy. So is the driver of the ATV. He realized that he's not going to get too far out there. He's just running. He's running scared, or running anyway, and trying to elude the police. And he's not going to find a lot of safe haven out here, except that like we said, it depends on who has the most fuel. And the way it works with the helicopter is the helicopter can call the Tamiami or Executive Airport or Opelika, where they station these helicopters, and say, tell the other guys there, hey, I'm going to be out of fuel here in an hour and a half. I'm going to need someone else to come out here, and they'll send another helicopter out. Once they get started in something like this, they usually don't stop until they get the guy there or get the person to stop or take them into custody.
All right, just to repeat for viewers who are now just joining us, we've interrupted programming to bring you this live developing story. in this live picture. We've been speaking with Ralph Rayburn, who's in our chopper, of course, and there is our other police car. It started in the area of Southwest 280th Street and around 180th Avenue there in Southwest Miami-Dade, way out there near Homestead and Everglades National Park. Now he's going over the grass. Cops want to stop this guy because he allegedly has some sort of weapon. He's refused to stop until right now. He's going over the grass. This is something new, getting off that dirt access road and down this, I don't know, it looks like a patch between two batches of trees, Ralph.
Yeah, they're little property divisions that are created by forestry to keep fires, brush fires from spreading as when they do have fires out in this area. It's a fire break. What they'll do is they'll clear the land and they'll clear maybe 30 or 40 feet in either direction and then just do a whole strip so that if they do have a fire they're fighting, when they get to this area, they can keep that. It's a place for them to fight the fire from, but also to keep it from jumping across from one side to the other. So he's just gaining access to these areas here and looking around to see if there's a place for him to make his getaway. But I'm pretty sure he's going to not find success with that.
Okay, so he went through what you call the fire break, and now he's made a right on this semi-dirt road and just seems to be hightailing it with absolutely no intention of giving up. And like you said, police are right on top of him. I mean, the chopper is loud, correct? I mean, you know, and ATVs are loud too, but he knows what's going on, correct?
Oh yeah,
and your guesstimation?
There's no, make no mistake about that. Yeah, he's fleeing from the police right now, trying to get away, and I don't know what to say. He's just defiant. He's not going to stop, and he's going to only stop probably when he runs out of gas or wrecks it.
Supposedly, this gentleman was with a couple of other acquaintances, friends, other people, other guys, a group of guys. This whole thing started with word that there were a group of Hispanic males driving erratically, maybe, as you said, Ralph, one police officer felt maybe in danger, but driving erratically toward the officer. A couple of people were arrested, but this gentleman with allegedly a handgun took off and refused to stop, and that's why we're following this picture live on Channel 7 here, and way out in Southwest Miami-Dade, near the Everglades, Everglades National Park, and Homestead Aviation as well. So he's way out there. He's been driving. We've been on this story. Well, Ralph, we've known about it for probably 25 minutes. I don't know how much gas he's got in his tank. He's looking up at the chopper.
Yeah, well,
which is right on top of him.
Right there. Yeah, right on top of him. He knows what's going on. He's I don't think he's at quite the high rate of speed that they were doing earlier. They were indicating that they may have been going up around 55 or 60 miles an hour on the dirt roads that are adjacent to the farm service roads out in this area. But right now you can see the Miami-Dade police helicopter, that unit right there, is just paralleling this as we work our way northbound here. We're coming back up a little while ago. We went by a water culvert area where they pump water out of the Everglades or into the Everglades, depending on what the people that handle the flooding in the areas decide to do with it. And he's heading back toward that area there, and there are police officers back in that area. So he's gonna also, you know, something that's changed here is with all this rain that we've just had in the past 20 minutes or so, it's a little soggy down there too now, probably making it a little bit more difficult for him to navigate through here. But he keeps looking over his left shoulder, back up at the police helicopter, and possibly back at us. He's got a black sweatshirt, kind of with it looks like either he's got a hoodie or he's got some kind of a covering on his head. He was wearing a mask, and he just took the mask off. Now he's got it. Now he's got the.
He's holding it up.
Yeah,
put it in his mouth.
Over his face right there. So.
You know, who knows what he's thinking? Keeping, you know, as he glances up at the helicopters, maybe he's thinking, right, well, eventually they'll give up. I'll just keep going.
We'll give you a closer look here. We may lose a little light on the shot here just for a second. There we go. Now we can move and really push in on this guy. Here we go.
So he's got this wrap, this black cloth in his teeth, in his mouth. Yeah. Looking back, looks like a zipped up hoodie there with some sort of emblem in the front. Black pants, maybe going, what do you think, Ralph? Maybe 30 miles an hour?
Yeah, maybe that, maybe a little bit faster. The bandana that he has in his mouth right now is something that they wear when they're doing the off-road stuff, just to keep the dirt and mud from flying into their face. So sometimes one of the guys was said to be wearing goggles. Another one of the guys that was in this group was said to be wearing the Jason hockey mask, or one of those masks. So police, you know, they take it seriously when something like this happens, and obviously we're in the middle of it now, watching as we have a very, very tight shot of this individual here on his ATV. Continues to go, well, I think let me see what happened here. There he is. Oh, yeah. We're going eastbound. Yeah, we've turned around now, going eastbound. We're in between some weather that we had. Now we got another storm coming up here from the southwest, probably in another 5 or 10 minutes. But the camera is cleared, so we have a little bit.
He's definitely slowing down, Ralph. He's turning around.
Right.
And again, police are after him because they believe he has a weapon or was brandishing a weapon. We did not see a weapon on him when Ralph was very, very close up. He's just doing circles right now, going over some rock, and it looks like he's going to get off right now and take off running, maybe trying to start this thing again.
He's stuck.
He's stuck in the mud.
He might be stuck, yeah.
What are you going to do? So you're watching a live picture right now of what could be the end of a pretty long police chase.
There you go.
Putting his hands up.
Hands up, yeah.
Giving up, hopefully with no resistance, no one getting hurt. He's getting off. Let's see what happens. You've got the police helicopter hovering right over. They know exactly where he's at. And let's find him. Okay, there he is to the right. There's the helicopter to the left.
I got him. I just want to see what the chopper's going to do here.
All right, well, so we saw him put his hands up, sort of slump back down.
Here. We'll go in tight now here and see what he does. He's
well, I don't know if he's
thinking about
complying.
Possibly getting. He's got himself free
Changed
again.
his
He's
mind.
back on the bike. Yep.
I give up. I don't give up. Maybe he got unstuck, you know, and he realized, you know what? Let's just keep going. So, okay, well.
And he's going back in the same direction that he just came from, heading back westbound. We do have a couple of police officers here. They were just about to take him. Let me show you real quick. There's the police officers right there. They got that close to him now, but he's starting to move westbound again. And police won't have, the ground units won't be able to get in here because they're giant coral rocks that they're using as a barricade or a fence to keep people out of this area. And I guess it affects anybody on an automobile.
Well, that was very interesting. It showed you where his mind maybe was a few minutes ago when it looked like his ATV was stuck, slumped over, put his hands up, and then looked around maybe and thought, well, there's nobody here to take me in. Let me see if I can get unstuck. Started it up again and took off again. And going over all this vegetation, making U-turns, just finding any place he can to drive that ATV and get away from cops. So now it looks like he's on an actual road.
Yeah, some of this appears to be paved. It's part of a drainage for the canal here, right here. I guess it just allows water to run off into the canal there. But he does have hard surface now. Might be a little slick, but he appears to be moving at a little higher rate of speed. Again, this is westbound in deep southwest Miami-Dade / Homestead here, for lack of better terms. Our GPS is just showing us a lot of green right now, and that's because of all vegetation here. Police helicopter in tow. A chase now, I want to say 30 minutes maybe total in time, that started around 287th Street and 187th Avenue, roughly that area, when four guys on ATVs apparently had an altercation with a police officer. He requested assistance here, started following the vehicles. They split up. Units from Homestead and from the county and from the school board police got involved in this, and they took two of the guys in custody within a block of each other, and a third just a short time ago. The fourth one, this one here, refused to stop for police, and by that time, there you go, now there's a video of the other guy in custody. They were able to get the police helicopter up. He actually left the area.
Well, we kind of lost him. Sorry to interrupt, but there we go.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Ralph. We just lost him for a second.
I'm sorry. He actually, the county helicopter unit actually cleared the area and then came back because they had canceled the chase. They had asked everybody just to go back to their respective zones, but they were able to spot this driver and his ATV again. The aviation unit got up, and then since that time we have followed him out here. Right now I can tell you, as a locator, we are about half a mile to the southwest of Homestead General Aviation. I can see the airport out my right window, and we are northbound on the levee here. Right there. Let me just bring the camera back out and show you. There's the police helicopter.
Yeah, you're way out there.
There's the ATV driver. Yeah, we are way out here. That's correct.
You got to wonder, Ralph. Okay, so we have official word, that this man is accused of having a weapon. You got to wonder what exactly, why police continue to chase him. Did he, point the weapon at an officer, at another human being? Why so long? Why this chase? They obviously feel that he is armed and dangerous, because they're not giving up and he's not giving up.
the reports that the one of the drivers had a weapon. That's the way it pretty much came across the radio there. The police respond, and dispatcher advises the ground units and the air unit that one of the four guys may have a weapon. That's the way it was dispatched. So they take it, like I said, they take this very seriously. And the fact that the guy refuses to stop, while not an indication of being guilty of anything, certainly keeps the police on edge here. As far as when this takedown does occur, when it does, who knows what's going to happen? I mean, that's one of the things. And again, I'm glad we're talking about this because we want to advise our viewers at home, as we always do, that this is the live television, is unedited, and as it plays out here live, hopefully it ends peacefully, and the guy ends up giving up and doesn't have an accident, doesn't hurt anybody else, doesn't get back towards civilization, I guess, and involve anybody else in this chase.
Well, that is true, Ralph, and it is very unusual that we would see this kind of police chase, number one, on an ATV, and number two, out in the Everglades when there's not a soul around, not another car, not an intersection, not a school bus, not a person, but still very dangerous for police officers. Any chase is, and could be dangerous for this suspect that they are now chasing, who keeps looking back. He's got the bandana, the black piece of cloth, in his mouth. And refuses to stop. If you're just now joining us, maybe, I don't know, 8 minutes ago, he did stop. He got stuck, it looked like, in the muck or in the dirt or in a rock, slumped over, put his hands up in the air. There it is to the right. I give up. Come on, get me. A helicopter right on top of him, police helicopter, but the police units were not so close because he's out there in that marshy area. He gets off and apparently had a change of heart, gets back on and takes off again. And that's exactly what we're looking at right now. He's back on a dirt road, way out there near Everglades National Park and Homestead, way south, around 300th Street or Avenue, I believe. He seems to be slowing down. A little bit of bad weather, and that's really why this picture is not so crystal clear perfect. Is that right, Ralph? I mean, you're between storms?
That's correct. We still have a little humidity issue right now. We do have a police officer behind him. Here we go. This is going to be the takedown here. Let's say he's gotten off the bike. Yeah, this is going, unfortunately, our shot is a little soft because of the rain, but he has complied now. He's going to lay down on the ground here. We have officer with his weapon drawn there. Yeah, have to trust me on part of it because of the weather situation, but he does have his gun drawn there. The chase is over. We are pretty much due west of Homestead General Aviation by about 1 mile in the Everglades here. Hands behind his back. The officer is going to holster his gun. He'll take out his handcuffs here and place the handcuffs on him. He's all over the watchful eyes of the Miami-Dade helicopter that is hovering right over the top of the scene right here. And this subject is now in custody. Let me bring the camera back out and see if we can show you any more. There's the car there. There's the police chopper who's been through this or on this chase now. We have the subject in custody. He's being walked back to the vehicle, and the police officer is going to be placing him in the back of a car here. That looks like a Homestead car there. I believe it is, yeah.
Well, that was one of the most peaceful takedowns for such a long chase. I mean, this chase was, my guesstimation, 30 minutes or so, especially with him stopping at one point and then kept going. I mean, everybody was very, very lucky. This one police officer in that particular car getting out and taking him down, arresting him, hands sprawled out. That police helicopter above, he's checking him possibly, I guess, for a weapon. Or taking out his belongings.
He's checking him right now for that weapon, and of course he'll probably go back over to the ATV if he doesn't find anything here. And there's a good possibility that I'm just saying that if he did have a gun or had a weapon, he could have pitched it anywhere along this 25-minute chase. Could be anywhere right now. He's going to go through, take the guy's hoodie off here, and check him. The helicopter has landed, I'm being told by my pilot, Joe Mancino. He's landed down there on the levee to offer assistance here, just in case they need any of this officer, because he is by himself. Let me back the camera out here just for a second, see what we got here.
And
there he is. He's right on the levee there, and the officer's walking over. It's either the pilot or the observation guy is coming over here just to check everything out.
And that suspect, I was saying, we got a good look at his face there a few seconds ago. He does look young. A young man under arrest after leading police in southwest Miami-Dade on a long chase on his ATV. The takedown happening just a few minutes ago. This particular officer arresting him, radioing somebody and putting him in the car after checking his belongings. Took something out, maybe a wallet or something square, one or two things. And now that's one of the guys in the helicopter, a police officer, correct?
I think the question that the pilot asked him was what? Well, why were you doing this? Why would you just stop? What were you thinking? So, and I'm sure that question is going to be asked more than one time.
I think you're right, Ralph. I think you're right. So to the right is a videotape taken just a few minutes ago. Well, actually, this is probably 15 minutes ago of this chase there in the Florida Everglades National Park, at least on the border. And on the left is a live picture of the takedown. It looks to be a young male who was on this ATV who would not stop. There was a report that he had a weapon, and that's why they were chasing him, and he refused to stop. He gave up a few minutes ago. You saw it live here on Channel 7, way out there, put his hands down on the ground on the edge of the Everglades there in that canal. The police officer arrested him. I've never seen the pilot of a police helicopter come over to the back of the car and talk to the suspect. And this is a live picture of the police car where this gentleman is. Is that a Homestead police officer, Ralph?
It appears to be, it says Homestead there on the back of the unit there. What we're hearing is that, of course, they've got to get the original officer that was involved with this to get out here. So he's going to have to get directions and find a way to get out here. They have to call for a tow truck now because the ATV becomes evidence in the chase, and they've got to get out here to do that. And it's going to take them a while to do that. They have the weather to deal with, and also just the remote location out here in the middle of nowhere. Again, just to give people an idea of where we are, take a look as I bring the camera back out. I'm not only am I going to bring it out that far, but now I'm going to take the doubler off there and show you. Let me back the camera down. This is the Everglades. We're pretty much out here in the middle of the Everglades, and without the helicopter, I don't think that this guy would have gotten caught. So an asset that the police use to their advantage. Obviously, we've seen it before. I have to tell you that this is the first time I've ever seen them actually chase an ATV. I think our last chase involved a motorcycle. That was a couple of weeks ago, but this one on the ATV with the 4 guys on 4 different ATVs is a different story for us.
And as you said, Ralph, maybe 20 minutes ago during this chase, when we first started this over 30 minutes ago, we heard the police were going to back off. It was too dangerous, and then they were back on when this suspect went into the Everglades. And here's a live picture or a videotape. Actually, what I'm talking about, they had 3 cars after him at one point on this side road next to the canal, and then they backed off. Got bad weather. The police helicopter, though, following this guy every step of the way. This is when he got stuck, put his hands up, I give up, slumped over. Okay, I'm going to get off the ATV, and then maybe he looks around. Where are the cops? The police helicopter right on top of him, and then for some reason he just decided, you know what, there's nobody around me to arrest me. I'm going to get back on, and I'm going to take off. And then the chase continued on for a good 10 minutes after that, and then it ended just a few minutes ago with him stopping, complying, hands up in the air, gets on the ground. He's arrested by one officer there in Homestead peacefully. Nobody hurt, thank goodness. A peaceful end to a very bizarre off-road police chase. More in the story at 4.